a scientist, I'm a physiologist. I study how the human body works. I try to do that in extreme environments, but then apply it to everybody. And I love helping people perform better. So whether you're a musician or you're in business or you're a real estate agent or you're an astronaut, you're special forces, your business, you're an Olympic athlete, whatever, I can help you perform better. And I like to do that using science. And I had a lightning strike go into my brain where I realized actually it's a series of individual emergencies. And I'd been talking about this billion-person problem, which I think, unfortunately, was probably largely an ego play for Greg, trying to have an impact in the world and be this person, when in fact I totally lost track of helping individuals. And when you do a speech, you help 500 individuals. I was thinking of it more as like 500 more people to add to my billion-person impact. And that led to a lot of introspection about what I was doing, why I was doing it, and why we have a mental health epidemic right now, which I think is linked to physical health. I think it's linked to emotional health. I think it's linked to spiritual health. I think it's that resilience model that's just being destroyed in our world. And I began to dig into the brain science of it and found that there are 4 types of brain waves that exist inside the brain. So there is beta waves, which are hustle. So we're all sitting here probably in beta. You're listening, you're processing, you're thinking, we're in full-on hustle mode. That's beta wave brain activity. Then you have alpha waves, which are when you're reflecting and learning. So you're sitting, you're contemplating, you're sort of actively engaged. It's another term is metacognition. It's when we're really learning, you're reflecting, you're gaining some insights. And then there's theta waves, which happen when you're creative. So a lot of people get into that state when you're driving and daydreaming at the same time, which you shouldn't be, but a lot of people are. Like you're on a long road trip and you wake up 100 kilometers later and you're like, wow, that was scary. Here we are, we're still alive. That's theta wave activity. That happens a lot when you're in the shower. When people get eureka moments in the shower, and will also happen if you're sitting on the beach watching waves. So you're just sort of thinking about things, and all of a sudden this leap of insight. And then there's gamma waves, which are new. Well, they're not new. They're probably millions of years old, but our knowledge of them is just exploding right now. And gamma waves are when everything comes together. Like both sides of the brain connect. You have leaps of understanding. And the state that you're in when that happens is, have you ever watched the sun go down over the ocean, and right at that last possible second, like everything sort of, you see everything change, there's a little bit of green, like that one moment, and you're 100% in on that, like that's gamma wave activity. So that'll happen often in concerts when a musician is unconscious and playing connected with the crowd, and like that's these magical moments that happen in our lives. It's like that's like peak experience. So I've been exploring all of those states and helping people to I believe that the reason why we have a mental health epidemic right now when people are struggling with depression, anxiety, unhappiness is because as a society we're spending all of our time in beta waves. Hustle. We're super busy, but you wake up a month later, you've been working your tail off, but you have no idea what you've accomplished. You're just busy. Or you're super busy getting groceries, picking up the kids, you're racing around all over the place. You get to the end of the day and you're like, ugh, and you're just depressed. Even though we're living in the greatest time ever to be alive, lowest ever rates of chronic disease, historical low rates of terrorism, historic low rates of murder, like it's the best time ever to be a human, yet people are miserable. All the data says, greatest ever time ever to be alive. Like I saw your face, like, really? Lowest crime, right? Historic low rates of crime, historic low rates of terrorism, lowest rates of infant mortality, longest ever lifespan. Like it's all the best across every single statistic, yet we're inundated with negativity. And I think that we all end up being miserable, unhappy, sad, depressed, anxious because we spend all of our time in beta. We're not spending enough time in these other brainwave states.